Three Mile Island happened, even though, of course, that was an example of the system actually working. And unfortunately, we look at it from this perspective that, this is an unlimited supply of energy from magical rocks that we found that give energy for free. And yet we stopped using the rocks because some people got scared of them. And by the way, having also served in the Navy, every single one of our aircraft carriers, every single one of our submarines has a nuclear propulsion plant on it, has a nuclear reactor, and those things are as safe as can be. So if we have this technology in the Navy, if it's good enough for them, I think it's good enough for the country. I think it's really something we need to start embracing more. And I know the president has talked about that. Where are you when it comes to nuclear, Libby?
I'm totally with you on that. I think nuclear energy is the energy of the future. We should be embracing that. And if you look at our history, there was whale oil and then there was coal. Coal was better than whale. Oil was better than coal. And it's time for the next iteration of power that we can use. And this is the kind of power, nuclear energy, that can see us into all kinds of new technologies and new efficiencies. Solar and wind just aren't going to cut it. And additionally, they take up a lot of land resources, right? I mean, a solar energy situation, it's miles of this stuff and it just takes over the land. Wind turbines, once a wind turbine breaks down, you can't recycle it.
Well, think of it like solar and wind. Isn't that kind of like going backwards? Because obviously, like the sun was our first energy source, and then wind was, sails, right, for sailing, and windmills. You can still go to Holland and see the windmills, but it's like, guys, it's the big 2-6. I don't know if we, really need to be regressing into the alternative energy, but it's not new energy. That's old stuff. Let's talk about the new stuff. Let's talk about actual progress and moving forward. There's even, some the Chinese and the Russians, I just know from a military perspective, they're looking at nuclear energy that you're able to get out with a chemical breakdown, chemical reaction. So looking at to build mini reactors for different submarines and undersea applications that they have. So really, really important stuff. And I think, again, the innovations that we should be focusing on. Libby Emmons, we follow you.
You can find me on Twitter at Libby Emmons. And of course, check out everything we're doing at thepostmillennialandhumanevents.com.
All right. I'm Jack Posobiec. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, you have my permission to lay ashore.
This is America's Voice Live.
And welcome to America's Voice Live. I'm Steve Gruber.
The pulse of the people.
We need somebody that's going to hear the people's voice.
The truth the mainstream won't touch.
This guy is, by definition, a globalist.
And the stories that matter.
Rav's own Ben Berquam.
Right up over this hill, we got an armed cartel. I see him.
Live.
Breaking news right now here on Real America's Voice.
Unfiltered.
These people are domestic terrorists.
And unapologetic.
We're here to take a stand for God and country. Does feel good, doesn't it?
America's Voice Live starts now.
And welcome to America's Voice Live. I'm Steve Gruber. Today is Thursday, the 23rd of July in the year of our Lord 2026. Let's get to today's top stories. As always, thank you for being here with us on Real America's Voice. Good to see you on a Thursday. Now, before the program, just now, you saw President Trump making an announcement regarding the Ratepayer Protection Pledge, regarding energy costs for American citizens and households like yours. I'll bring on Dr. Ben Carson momentarily to discuss that announcement, as well as Dr. Carson's latest op-ed on how well international guests received America during the FIFA World Cup. Also, I'll bring on Sheriff Mark Lamb to talk about his primary victory in Arizona's 5th Congressional District, as well as the importance of the Save America Act. More on that coming up as well, and then later. The U.S.-China AI race heats up as Chinese models close the gap on American leaders. This comes just 1 week after President Trump announced election interference from the CCP. All that and so much more coming up on the program. But I want to start off with the false reality Democrats apparently want to live in. Democrats will tell you the sky is green while they stand right underneath it and expect you to believe them, because that's exactly what's happening with voter fraud and the Democrat Party's reaction to it. In New Jersey, Governor Mikey Sherrill just announced that almost 7,000 non-citizens were registered to vote in her state back in 2023. She says it was because of a software glitch. Guess who was governor back in 2023? Phil Murphy, who turned the state into a sanctuary state and had this to say about voter fraud. Compare this to Sherrill's most recent announcement.
Tell the truth. I mean, the chances of voter fraud, and this is true, uncovering voter fraud is less than the chances you get hit by lightning. It barely exists in terms of voter fraud. Now, does that mean that there aren't situations that come up that our folks deal with? Yes, but it's a de minimis frequency. It just doesn't happen. Our elections are safe and secure, and we're going to make sure we keep it that way.
In June of 2023, nearly 3 years before I became governor, a serious software error in New Jersey's motor vehicle system led to the improper voter registration of what we believe to be roughly 6,600 people in our state. When New Jerseyans applied for a driver's license or identification at the MVC, they were asked if they wanted to register to vote. In the case of this error, some individuals indicated that they weren't citizens and weren't eligible to vote, but the software registered them anyway.
No, just so you know, the tech company that Sherrill is trying to blame desperately has denied there was any glitch at all on their side. They said the responsibility lies solely on the shoulders of the state of New Jersey. Sherrill doesn't intend to take any responsibility, of course, because in that exact same speech about finding 6,600 non-citizens on her voter rolls, this is what she had to say about Donald Trump, the guy who's trying to secure our elections now that he's secured our borders. Listen.
I am ensuring that we protect our elections. Let me be clear. Donald Trump has zero credibility on the issue of election integrity. For the past 10 years, he's cried wolf and peddled bizarre conspiracy theories about fraud with no evidence. I saw the consequences of Trump's lies on January 6th. I was in the Capitol when he and his followers tried to steal the election and put the lives of hundreds of members of our law enforcement at risk. Trump could care less about the actual integrity of the process. His only concern is himself.
He cried woof? I don't think he cried woof. Look, you can't make this stuff up. In one speech, she went from laying out evidence for voter fraud to blasting Trump for calling attention to the conspiracy of voter fraud. She wants you to believe the sky is green. Trump says the number is actually much higher, and apparently it is, because according to the Department of Homeland Security, there are at least 35,000 non-citizens registered to vote today in New Jersey. Trump says, and I quote, "These are just the ones that got caught. The real numbers will prove to be many times this amount." And he's calling on Republicans to do their job and pass the Save America Act. The 35,000 number isn't hard to swallow, considering DHS Secretary Mark Wayne Mullen told us last week that 250,000 plus non-citizens were found registered to vote in just 4 states, New Jersey being one of them. In that same speech, Mullen also swore to hold election officials accountable. Here's what he said.
But the states have to do their part. I will tell you, if the states that choose not to participate with the SAVE program and they choose not to participate in securing the elections, we will make sure that we make those states a priority to look at who voted in their states and hold then the election officials accountable. If the election officials, once we gave them the information they need to secure their elections, and they chose not to, then those individuals can also be held accountable by fines, by penalties, and even, depending on how far it goes, prison time.
You know, if you ask me, that's why Governor Sherrill decided to come forward now with this information. She will continue to attack President Trump. He's tough, he can take it, but she also doesn't want to run into Secretary Mullen or the long arm of the law. That's the beauty of what Trump is doing here by making an issue out of it. He's forcing the Democrats to come clean in some kind of measure about an issue they have always denied existed. Because this is the talking point that we consistently get from Democrats time and time again. Here's an example.
There is no evidence that undocumented migrants vote.
We're debating a problem that does not exist.
This is a solution in search of a problem that does not exist.
The evidence is almost no illegal immigrants vote. Some benign effort to tell the small number of illegal immigrants.
The reports show voter fraud is exceedingly rare, but there's a couple things we know about the administration.
Citizen voting in federal elections is already illegal.
There is no evidence of fraud or corruption
because we don't have a problem with illegal aliens voting in the country.
Of course. By the way, there are hours and hours where that came from. I could do it all day, but Mikey Sherrill's announcement proves that's just not true. And the consequences, as outlined by Mullen now, might force more Democrats to come clean about their voter rolls. I wouldn't hold my breath for that one, though. Instead, what we're hearing from Democrats is what Abby Phillips over at CNN is resorting to, which is, so what? Big deal. It's nothing to see here. Listen.
6,600 non-citizens made it onto the voter rolls. That's okay. To me is pretty widespread voter fraud.
That's widespread?
Yeah, I think it'd be pretty bad if one person who's not a legal citizen in the United States.
The number of registered voters in the state?
Well, New Jersey spends $60 billion over that overall on its budget. So I think if we're seeing...
Yeah, but I mean, you just said it's widespread. So where's the proof that it's widespread?
6,600 non-citizens made it onto the voter rolls.
That is 0.006% of registered voters in the state. Is it widespread, or is it something that is relatively rare?
You're pounding him over the word widespread. I just would ask you,
Scott,
what is your tolerance for any fraud at all?
Is it widespread?
Absolutely. Over 6,000 people.
What is your bar for widespread?
And she said, my bar is I want no tolerance. Okay. I have zero tolerance.
So what is your tolerance?
Zero tolerance. That is the attitude that every American needs to have toward this issue. None. Zero. Nada. The SAVE Act is non-negotiable. We need citizenship requirements. Now's a good time to remind you that 19 states offer driver's licenses to illegal aliens. 15 of those also automatically register you to vote when you get your license. Do the math. So like I said, we need citizenship requirements, and we need them now. California is perhaps the worst when it comes to securing its elections. California doesn't want voter ID because the Democrat Party needs to keep its golden state throne, even at the expense of what the actual people want. And it's not just that California leaders aren't going to vote for the SAVE Act, it's that the state is intentionally sabotaging the chances of voter ID being passed by its own citizens. Listen to this from candidate for governor Steve Hilton.
Voter ID, supported by around 70% of Californians. They are so terrified of it that they have now changed the actual words that will appear on the ballot in order to try and put people off from voting for it. Here's the original title. Establishes additional voter identification and citizenship verification requirements. That's an accurate description of the voter ID initiative. Here's what they've changed it to. Prohibits citizens from voting unless they present government-issued identification. Invalidates mail ballots that do not have last four digits of designated government-issued identification number. It's so laughably corrupt and insane. This is like a ballot initiative that would have required, I don't know, driver licenses in order to drive, and they changed it to prohibits driving without a driver license. These people are a joke. We are going to get voter ID passed. There's a clear majority in favor of it, despite these corrupt shenanigans, and we are going to kick this corrupt machine out of power this year because we've had enough of all this.
We have had enough of all this. Thank you, Steve Hilton. Now is the time for change. Donald Trump has tightened the screws as much as he can, has the Democrat Party in a panic. If we don't right the ship now, they'll run away with it and sink it somewhere. Here's my good friend John Solomon explaining the situation quite clearly.
I think the reason why the Democrats lost their mind on Thursday night with the president's very specific, very detailed, and by the way, fully vetted by all five of the intelligence agencies' speech. All five of the intelligence agencies checked every word, is that the three heels of their strategy is starting to fall apart. They like to get non-citizens on the voter rolls. They like to have dirty voter rolls. They prove that by fighting to keep them dirty. Two, they've known for some time, they were bragging about it and raising concerns in 19, then they let it go, that our election machines have vulnerabilities that a foreign power hasn't yet, but could exploit. And then third, they do not like any sense of hardening the system. They want to keep the system soft and mushy, and Donald Trump is threatening that by pushing the Save America Act.
Now, like I said earlier, Democrats will keep telling you the sky is green while standing in the pouring rain, expecting you to ignore the evidence right in front of your eyes. But the American people aren't buying it anymore. From New Jersey's 6,600 non-citizen registrations and the true DHS figure of 35,152 to a staggering 250,000 or more across just 4 blue states, the fraud at this point is simply undeniable. Governor Sherrill can blame glitches, vendors, or Trump all she wants, but the pattern is clear. Democrats build systems that invite illegal voting, then deny the problem exists. Enough. Enough. President Trump is forcing the issue because every non-citizen vote cancels out an American citizen's true voice. We need zero tolerance for this nonsense. No more excuses. Republicans must pass the Save America Act immediately, require proof of citizenship, clean the voter rolls, hold negligent officials accountable legally, up to and including prison time. The Democrats' denial ends here and now. America First is watching, the DOJ is watching, and the American people demand fair, secure elections. Our republic depends on it, and the time for action is right now. And that's your monologue. Coming up after the break, I'll bring on Dr. Ben Carson to discuss his latest op-ed on how international visitors fell in love with America during the World Cup. I'll also get his thoughts on the president's recent announcement regarding the Ratepayer Protection Pledge. All that and more coming up next on America's Voice Live.
So my friends have all switched to Pure Talk because I told them they could save a bunch of money on a super reliable.
Real America's Voice is growing, and now it's all in one place. Introducing the new and improved RAV app, built for access, community, and choice, not paywalls. Here's the key. RAV is still free to watch. No sign-in, no membership required. Your favorite live streams, breaking coverage, and video on demand are all right there. Free, just like always.
For the War Room Posse, we have to be a force multiplier on this. We have to stick the landing.
In the White House, in the Oval Office, you're crushing it, my friend.
And if you want more, the members section is your backstage pass. Get exclusive behind-the-scenes photos and videos, insider moments from the studio and the field, and early access to new content before it goes public. Members can also unlock special experiences like virtual meet and greets, member-only auctions, and select event access, plus commercial-free viewing of certain shows inside the app. It's not just an app, it's a community. Download the RAV app today. Find it in the App Store and Google Play.
Hi, my name is Tracy L. from Arizona. I don't stink around in the kitchen when it comes to the news. I watch Real America's Voice, which always serves accurate and reliable updates that are on point with their amazing hosts. So don't find yourself in a pickle by tuning into the fake news. Stick with Real America's Voice.
I'm Patriot Mermaid, and I'm from West Haven, Connecticut. When the mainstream media wasn't giving us the truth, I went and looked for the truth and found it on Real America's Voice. Come and join us. Come on.
Hi, my name's Paul Foyer. I'm Foyer04 in the Getter Chat. I love rap for all the Getter, all the War Room Posse, and all of you guys. Love y'all. Bye.
Hi, this is Chris from Colorful Colorado. I'm Drawbridge in the Getter Chat. I trust no one for my news except Real America's Voice. So if anyone asks, I was never here.
International visitors came to America expecting the worst, but many left surprised by what they actually found. Instead of the negative pictures some of the media spins, they experienced the everyday kindness and hospitality that millions of Americans take for granted every day. From the clean stores and massive selection at Costco to the over-the-top experience at Buc-ee's, of course, and Waffle House, Yeah, friendly service, simple gestures like free refills at Chick-fil-A. Visitors saw a side of America built on customer service, generosity, and, of course, a warm welcome. Joining me to discuss is the National Security Advisor for Nutrition, Health, and Housing at the U.S. Department of Agriculture, Dr. Ben Carson. Doctor, nice to see you today.
Thank you, Steve. It's always good to be with you.
I mean, Doctor, it brought me joy to watch video after video of people saying, I thought America was something completely different. The media lied to us. America is wonderful. The people are wonderful. They fell in love with the place. As a result of that, we have ambassadors going back to Central and South America, to Europe, to Asia, all over the world, singing the praises of this country. Must make you feel good, too.
I was so thrilled to see all of those videos that were posted on social media, because those people who run the mainstream media rooms, I think they've already been indoctrinated. They only look at the bad things, and those are that propaganda is spread all over the world. So of course these people are going to come here expecting to see what they've heard about, and then they see something completely different. But it's not only a joy for them, it's a joy for us too, to see that, because this indoctrination process has been going on for quite some time. And unfortunately, our children are not being shielded from it. They are being taught that, you know, this country was taken over from the Native Americans, and they were ill-treated, and that we were the only ones who had slavery, and that distinguished us from everybody else, and on it goes. The fact of the matter is we have an incredible history, but if you only tell the bad parts, you know, there's good, there's bad, and there's ugly. There's a heck of a lot more good than there is bad and ugly. But
That's
you wouldn't know
true.
that, you know, from the way the mainstream media portrays things. And they take any single incident that bolsters their argument and they blast that all over the place, and they don't talk about all the other counter arguments. And it's really a very serious problem, because the American people are becoming less patriotic. Why? Because they're hearing all this negativity all the time. And that was the intention, quite frankly, for those who want to fundamentally change our nation.
For the media, it's a recitation of the failures and mistakes of America, which there have been failures and mistakes. But you're right. Americans have been exceptional for 250 years, whether in scientific innovation or medical breakthroughs, in creating transportation, medication, communication in ways that have never been considered before, leading the world, and leading the world out of darkness in World War I and World War II. But those in the mainstream media, and not just here, it's media in Europe and media in Australia, they all want to denigrate America whenever possible. It's an odd take on things to me.
Well, you know, what's interesting is if you go back and look at the history of Marxism and socialism, they talk a lot about America and how America is very strong because of our building blocks, our faith and our family. And that the only way that they would ever be able to bring America down is by attacking those entities and by getting support from a large number of the people. They call these people useful idiots, people who work against their own interests and the interests of their children and grandchildren, and are easily overcome by almost anything, because they don't have a basis. They don't have a foundation. They don't know their history. And that's why all of this is going on. We have to face it. We have to be willing to stand up and really talk about who we are, particularly to our children. And that's why we have the Little Patriots program at American Cornerstone. And we teach them everything about who we are, what our values, what our principles are. Those people will be very difficult to fool, but the others, very easy to fool.
Yeah, I do feel there's a shift in the wind, if you will, with younger people. I've got a son who's in high school, and this generation seems more patriotic than I've seen in 25 years, which is good news, because they're sick and tired of hearing their home team get run down, the home team being America. I feel there's a turning, don't you?
Especially for the young men. The young ladies are coming along a little more slowly, but we have to keep encouraging them telling them the right things, and teaching them who we really are. The stories that used to occur in our history books been taken out. Stories like the Bulletproof Washington. Most of the people don't know that story. You know, he had bullet holes in his coat, but no flesh wounds. And one of the Indian chiefs in the French and Indian War came and saw him many years later and said, "Sir, I'm an expert marksman. I shot you myself 17 times. And my men shot you." And I told them to stop wasting their bullets. And before I died, I just wanted to meet the man who was protected by the Great Spirit above, who will become the father of a great nation. That used to be in our history books. The Battle of Long Island. A lot of incredible things, but we don't tell those stories anymore. We just find the negative things to talk about.
You know, one other thing that we don't teach anymore that they taught when I was in school was the truth about socialism, about communism, about Chairman Mao being the greatest mass killer in world history, maybe as many as 100 million people. Comrade Stalin, maybe 50 million people. They told us the truth about socialism and communism and the destruction to human life and dignity. They don't teach that anymore either, sir, which is why you have this romance, once again, with socialism coming from the left. Last word to you.
It always works the same way, and it always has the same result. And again, it goes back to knowledge, being knowledgeable so that you can fend off those things. We can do it. This is America. But we can't stand in the room and stare at our feet while people are denigrating our country. We have to be willing to speak up. And you can't do that unless you know what you're talking about. So people, please learn. Make sure your children learn. Go to littlepatriotslearning.com, free of charge. You'll find out all about America, all about our values and principles. And it's very entertaining, too. And a lot of adults say, "I don't need that. I know that." So, no, they don't. They don't know that stuff. And you see those man on the street interviews, and they ask people the simplest things, and they have no idea what you're talking about. Those are people who are very easy to manipulate. And we're also being manipulated to think that we're each other's enemies, just because you have a disagreement. It's okay to disagree. It doesn't have to make you into enemies. And we need to learn that, because that's a very strong tool that they're using to try to destroy our country.
Yeah. If people only do a recitation of what America did wrong and don't teach people about the Great Leap Forward and other such human tragedies, they're not getting the full story, not even close. Doctor, thank you for being here today.
Always good to be with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Coming up after the break, I'll bring on Sheriff Mark Lamb to talk about his big primary win in Arizona's 5th Congressional District, as well as the importance of the Save America Act and the future of this country. Details coming up on AVL.
Life insurance is a wonderful asset, but what happens when you no longer need it, or you can't afford it?
Real America's Voice is growing, and now it's all in one place. Introducing the new and improved RAV app, built for access, community, and choice, not paywalls. Here's the key. RAV is still free to watch. No sign-in, no membership required. Your favorite live streams, breaking coverage, and video on demand are all right there. Free, just like always.
For the War Room Posse, we have to be a force multiplier on this. We have to stick the landing.
In the White House, in the Oval Office, you're crushing it, my friend.
And if you want more, the members section is your backstage pass. Get exclusive behind-the-scenes photos and videos, insider moments from the studio and the field, and early access to new content before it goes public. Members can also unlock special experiences like virtual meet and greets, member-only auctions, and select event access, plus commercial-free viewing of certain shows inside the app. It's not just an app, it's a community. Download the RAV app today. Find it in the App Store and Google Play.
Hi, my name is Tracy L. from Arizona. I don't stink around in the kitchen when it comes to the news. I watch Real America's Voice, which always serves accurate and reliable updates that are on point with their amazing hosts. So don't find yourself in a pickle by tuning into the fake news. Stick with Real America's Voice.
On page Patriot Mermaid, and I'm from West Haven, Connecticut. When the mainstream media wasn't giving us the truth, I went and looked for the truth and found it on Real America's Voice. Come and join us. Come on.
Hi, my name's Paul Foyer. I'm Foyer04 in the Getter Chat. I love rap for all the Getter, all the War Room Posse, and all of you guys. Love y'all. Bye.
Hi, this is Chris from Colorful Colorado. I'm Drawbridge in the Getter Chat. I trust no one for my news except Real America's Voice. So if anyone asks, I was never here.
Arizona, the primary elections were held Tuesday, mostly Republicans taking a victory just ahead for the midterms in November. Good news. Speaking of the midterms issue, the biggest thing hanging in the balance has to do with whether or not the Save America Act gets passed and gets passed in time, an effort that's been present in political discourse up to this point in President Trump's second term, with repeated mentions about the importance of verifying that those who show up to the booths are actually the ones that they say they are. Joining to discuss, former Pinal County Sheriff and GOP congressional candidate Sheriff Mark Lamb, coming fresh off a primary victory in Arizona 5. He told me in the break it's a R+12 district, so we're in pretty good shape here. Sheriff, congratulations.
Well, thank you, Steve, and thanks for having me on today.
Nice to have you here. First of all, reflect on your race. It's an important race. The man you're replacing might just be the governor of the state of Arizona, Andy Biggs, right?
That's right. Well, we hope he's going to be the governor of Arizona. He's done a phenomenal job as congressman, one of the most conservative. If not, I think he might have had the most conservative record in Congress. And those are big shoes to fill. I hope to bring that same conservative, common sense ideals, America first, Americans first, thought process to Washington, D.C., and be an unapologetic defender of God, family, freedom, and the Constitution. And then we need Andy Biggs to hold it down here on the state level. We've got a governor that we've got to replace, and hopefully the people do a better job of showing up to vote than they did in the primary, but it was enough to take us across the finish line. Also, kudos to President Trump. His endorsements are still carrying a ton of weight here in Arizona in these primaries, and I was honored to have his endorsement as we got into this race.
Maricopa County, I think it accounts for like 3/4 of the population of the state of Arizona. There were election problems there in 2020. It's not exactly a secret. When you look at the Save America Act, pieces of it are getting through, parts of it are getting through. The United States Senate unable so far to get it across the finish line. Maybe they've got a trick up their sleeve, according to Senator Mike Lee of Utah, but we'll see. When you look at Maricopa County, when you look at the importance of having an ID and knowing that the people that are casting ballots are actually supposed to be doing that because they're legal citizens. I mean, we just saw what happened in New Jersey where they claimed, oh, this never happens in America. They've got 35,000 plus non-residents on their voter rolls. What do you think the state of the voter rolls are in Arizona?
Well, first, let me start off with the Save America Act. I just don't understand how this is even an issue. 80% of Americans, black, white, Hispanic, Republicans, Democrats, they all think it's appropriate and common sense to ask somebody for an identification if you're going to vote in our elections. We have had too much fraud, too many people in this country illegally, and Joe Biden let about 15 million plus more in, and now we're dealing with this problem. Asking somebody to show an ID should not be even a conversation. This should have passed flying colors. It's sad that they have to try to secretly or tactically push this through. This should have just been a no-brainer. Shame on Senate for not getting it done. Here in Arizona, one of the challenges we face is Maricopa County, 4.5 million people, 10,500 square miles. It is a huge county, and we've got to figure something out to fix this situation, because it is hard to believe that we're going to be dictated by, possible fraud, and we can't afford that. Whether we've got to break this county up into 4 counties or do something different, I think on the horizon, and when getting Andy Biggs in there is going to help us fix these election issues here in Arizona. But we do have work to do in Arizona, but I think there's enough Republicans that we can win these elections, and then we fix them long term. Yeah,
I've heard others suggest that Maricopa County should be split into 3 or 4 pieces. What do you have, 15 counties in Arizona currently? It would make it 18 or 19, and it would give better representation to the people, right?
Absolutely. It is a ginormous county, land-wise, population-wise, very difficult. You only have 5 supervisors. That means each supervisor is in charge of almost 1 million people. What kind of quality of service can you really provide when you're dealing with something like that? So I think it's a common sense thing to split that county up and really give that county the ability, each one of those counties, because then manage it in a much more manageable way. And that's better government. That's good government. And it doesn't, just because it's been this way doesn't mean we can't change it.
Last question. Is that cowboy hat going to Washington?
Oh, yeah. This one and a handful of other ones that I have. I don't just have one hat, but they're coming to Washington with me. I think Washington needs more cowboy hats and belt buckles. We need more common sense. We need people that are going to put the American people first. We need less government. We need more freedom, less taxes, if not, no taxes. We need to protect the Second Amendment. We've got to secure our border. Steve, there's so much work that needs to be done, and I'm honored to be representing the Republican Party here in Arizona, and hopefully in November, the people of CD5 here in Arizona. But make no mistake about it, wherever you are in this country, my vote here in Arizona will mean just as much to you and your whatever state you're in as it does to the people in my district. We've got to send better representation back. And so absolutely, the cowboy hat's coming with me because people want common sense in Washington, D.C.
There you go, Mark Lamb. Again, congratulations on the big win Tuesday. Off to the general election, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
All right, coming up after the break, I'll discuss the AI race specifically between the United States and China. Who's winning and who's trailing? More on that after the break.
Hi, I'm Ben Cozy. Isn't traveling a pain in the neck? You're cramped, uncomfortable, and forget about it.
Our country is under attack.
The America we know is at risk of not being that way.
The radical left wants to destroy America.
We're not going to let that happen.
The younger generation needs you to stand up and lead.
It's an inside-out strategy.
This is more than an organization. This is a movement.
We're here to save the country.
AMAC is a family, over 2 million patriots strong.
I am an AMAC member, by the way.
AMAC gives you the training, resources, and tools to be a citizen soldier.
Each one of us can make a difference, and that's what AMAC shows every day.
Plus, real benefits like travel discounts, insurance, and Medicare guidance. We are stronger together.
Our rights don't come from government. Our rights come from God.
RAV family, let's stand with AMAC.
To extinguish all the evil that we see around us.
Scan the QR code right now or go to amac.us/RAV and let's take our country back together.
Real America's Voice is growing, and now it's all in one place. Introducing the new and improved RAV app, built for access, community, and choice, not paywalls. Here's the key. RAV is still free to watch. No sign-in, no membership required. Your favorite live streams, breaking coverage, and video on demand are all right there. Free, just like always.
For the War Room Posse, we have to be a force multiplier on this. We have to stick the landing.
In the White House, in the Oval Office, you're crushing it, my friend.
And if you want more, the members section is your backstage pass. Get exclusive behind-the-scenes photos and videos, insider moments from the studio and the field, and early access to new content before it goes public. Members can also unlock special experiences like virtual meet and greets, member-only auctions, and select event access, plus commercial-free viewing of certain shows inside the app. It's not just an app, it's a community. Download the RAV app today. Find it in the App Store and Google Play.
I'm Andy M., and I love Real America's Voice, where my voice counts and your voice counts. That is America's Voice.
My name is Kyle. I'm with Real America's Voice because we can chat with each other, the hosts, even management. We are the RAV family, and we're better together.
Technology has been rapidly advancing every year with even more capabilities, taking what used to be a glorified digital assistant into something Well, much bigger, to say the least. Like every new advancement in tech, nations are racing to secure their spot as the leading innovators, and the closest matchup, arguably, is the U.S. and China. It's like the World Cup of high tech. The U.S.-based company Anthropic has recently developed their Claude Fable 5 model, which not only can handle more complex tasks, but can do so faster and with little to no buffer. China, on the other hand, has the Kimi K3 model developed by Beijing-based startup Moonshot AI, which they know can compete with the flagship models, including the previously mentioned Fable 5 model. Joining me to discuss, the CEO of the Alliance for Secure AI, Brendan Steinhauser. And Brendan, I want to talk about that race, but I also want to talk about reports here this week of an AI model that was in testing that went rogue and started learning on its own. Tell me about that, because that is what people are worried about.
Absolutely, Steve. And, we've talked about this now for months, about the possibility of an AI kind of escaping the testing phase, escaping the sandbox, if you will, going rogue and acting in the real world and causing some harm. And that's exactly what these OpenAI models did this week. It was reported in the news, and it was reported by a company called Hugging Face, that these models basically escaped the testing sandbox, went rogue, hacked into a company, stole some data, and used that data to basically pass this evaluation they were going through. So it's exactly the kind of scheming behavior that many experts have been warning about for some time. And you can think about how it could have been much worse, especially as these capabilities continue to grow.
Well, and escaping the sandbox, when you say the sandbox for people watching, it means it's supposed to be self-contained. It's not supposed to get loose. It's not supposed to go out and educate itself and make decisions or hack other computers or whatever. How dangerous is this, Brendan?
It's very dangerous. If you think about what it could have chosen to do, if it really just wanted to pursue other, goals, it could have hacked into bank accounts. It could have hacked into power, water, transportation. It could have hacked into all sorts of other entities, stolen money, committed various crimes, done some real harm to real people in a way that is potentially irreversible. And again, this is just one example. And it's kind of the first that we've seen like this. But I think this is what people are warning about. And they're saying this is only going to happen more and more often because we don't have control over what we're building.
Well, and here's the thing. If every country around the world, or many of them, are all working on new platforms and projects and AI ideas like China, the United States, Russia, whoever, then somebody's going to get careless. Somebody's going to make a mistake. I mean, it's inevitable, isn't it?
It is. We talk a lot about this race to AI supremacy, but the race could be a race to the bottom when it comes to security and safety. If all we're doing is competing with China and competing with, each American company racing as fast as they can, and it's going to lead to mistakes, it's going to lead to potentially a disaster of one sort or another. And so that is what many of us have been warning about, saying, we have to slow down and get this right. Yes, we want America to lead. We want American companies to be the best in the world, as they've always been. But we can't go so fast without any guardrails to where we see us get into a situation where these AIs basically cause more harm than good. And I think, frankly, the Chinese are in the same boat as it relates to some of this, because they really don't want that either. As much as we don't trust the CCP and we don't want them to lead the world on AI, I also think they understand that if they can't control what they're building either, that we're all in a bad situation.
Brendan, that is the headline that people are frightened by. Plenty of things to worry about out there. Here's just something else to add to the pile. Last question. Is there anything we can do to make sure we're defended from such breaches?
Yes, I think that we need accountability and transparency into the frontier labs so that we know what they're actually doing. We need certain agencies that have the scientific know-how and knowledge to have some transparency into those companies so that we can be prepared, so we can patch vulnerabilities, so we can, prevent these disasters from happening. I mean, otherwise there's no check on what they're building. And so there are some members of Congress, including Congressman Nathaniel Moran from East Texas, who put together a bill that would require incident reporting on things like this. And, if these things start to go rogue and try and develop, God forbid, novel biological weapons or do other horrible things, that we transparency into that, and that the companies are required to report that. so that they don't keep it secret because they're worried about their bottom line. So I think there are some things we can do, but we need transparency and accountability.
Brendan, we'll talk again soon because the threat is not getting smaller. It's getting larger. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Steve.
By the way, if you're 64 or older, this is something you need to hear. Medicare is complicated, we know that, but it doesn't have to be stressful. Chapter. It's the only Medicare advisor that compares every plan nationwide. On the phone with you, they'll look at your doctors, your prescriptions, your priorities, and they help you understand what you actually have and whether something better is available. No pressure, no agenda. They don't need one. After one call, Jody said the experience was a blessing. She was blown away by how knowledgeable and honest they were. If you're already on the right plan, they're going to say so. And if you're not, Chapter's going to help you switch over. Folks who found new plans with Chapter have saved an average of $1,100 a year. You can call 843-MED-HELP, take 20 minutes and see for yourself. 843-MED-HELP. It is completely free, and I'm glad you did. Anywhere Always Live will continue after a short break. Stay tuned for an interview with Dr. Peter McCullough up next.
Since 1941, the USO has stood beside the men and women.
Our country is under attack.
The America we know is at risk of not being that way.
The radical left wants to destroy America.
We're not going to let that happen.
The younger generation needs you to stand up and lead.
It's an inside-out strategy.
This is more than an organization. This is a movement.
We're here to save the country.
AMAC is a family, over 2 million patriots strong.
I am an AMAC member, by the way.
AMAC gives you the training, resources, and tools to be a citizen soldier.
Each one of us can make a difference, and that's what AMAC shows every day.
Plus, real benefits like travel discounts, insurance, and Medicare guidance. We are stronger together.
Our rights don't come from government. Our rights come from God.
RAV family, let's stand with AMAC.
To extinguish all the evil that we see around us.
Scan the QR code right now or go to amac.us/RAV and let's take our country back together.
Real America's Voice is growing, and now it's all in one place. Introducing the new and improved RAV app, built for access, community, and choice, not paywalls. Here's the key. RAV is still free to watch. No sign-in, no membership required. Your favorite live streams, breaking coverage, and video on demand are all right there. Free, just like always.
For the War Room Posse, we have to be a force multiplier on this. We have to stick the landing.
In the White House, in the Oval Office, you're crushing it, my friend.
And if you want more, the members section is your backstage pass. Get exclusive behind-the-scenes photos and videos, insider moments from the studio and the field, and early access to new content before it goes public. Members can also unlock special experiences like virtual meet and greets, member-only auctions, and select event access. Plus, commercial-free viewing of certain shows inside the app. It's not just an app, it's a community. Download the RAV app today. Find it in the App Store and Google Play.
I'm Andy M., and I love Real America's Voice, where my voice counts and your voice counts. That is America's Voice.
My name is Kyle. I'm with Real America's Voice because we can chat with each other, the host, even management. We are the RAV family, and we're better together.
Recently, Cyclospora. It's quickly becoming one of the biggest public health stories in the country in years, with thousands of people reportedly growing sick from this parasitic outbreak. Investigators racing to track down the source. Early reports pointed to shredded iceberg lettuce, but we're not sure about that now. Concerns continue to grow. Many Americans wondering just how serious this outbreak is, how seriously sick they can get, and what signs they should watch for in case they may have been exposed. Join me to discuss the Chief Scientific Officer at the Wellness Company, Dr. Peter McCullough. Doctor, nice to see you today. Let's start with the basics. Let's educate these folks. What is Cyclospora? Where does it come from?
Cyclospora is a protozoa, so it's like a parasite. It is in water, stagnant water, pond water. It clearly can get into water that's used to, water fields, in this case, lettuce. the source of this outbreak is thought to be Taylor Farms in Mexico. Now, Taylor Farms ships lettuce and other produce to over half of the U.S. states. And the original epidemiology, pointed to people eating lettuce at Taco Bell. But when the physical evidence was examined, the PCR test that was used to try to link it to Taylor Farms turned out to be a false positive. So we're relying on epidemiology. Now, Taylor Farms, they ship to Myers up there in Michigan, Steve, Kroger, Walmart. And so there are so many people getting sick with this explosive watery diarrhea that can last for a month. This is thought to be much bigger than just, eating a taco salad at Taco Bell.
Yeah. There's just no pleasant way to put it, doctor. And one of my children had this infection for a few days. It's unpleasant. You don't want this to happen to you. And if it does happen, hop as fast as possible. Explosive diarrhea, not a term. But what other symptoms should people be aware of?
Well, there can be low-grade fever, abdominal cramping. The big one is dehydration. I do worry about vulnerable patients, seniors, those in congregate living. It looks like a family here in my office has it right now. The key thing to know is that this is a very treatable infection. It's treated with a combination antibiotic, trimethoprim, sulfamethoxazole.
Yeah. Look, Taco Bell can tear people up already. Let's just be honest about that. But it's not the lettuce, all right? It's not Taylor Farms. I feel sorry for those guys because they got fingered and then it's a false positive. But let's talk about the facts. What can people do to avoid this infection? More importantly, what is the recommended treatment if somebody does get sick?
Right. I think there's lettuce in so many different food items. I don't think we should stop eating lettuce. I just had a salad today for lunch. What we should do is we should wash our produce well, particularly lettuce, strawberries, raspberries. Those are the culprits. Wash it well under the sink. Wash each leaf of the lettuce and make sure you use one of those dryers that kind of spins and pulls the water off it. And then if one becomes ill, immediately start trimethoprim sulfamethoxazole. That's Bactrim or Septra. It's available in the Wellness Company Aquamarine Blue emergency medical kit. I also advise people to have some Imodium at home, an antidiarrheal. Keep up on fluids, avoid dehydration. I think we should treat empirically and not wait to go to an ER or an emergency room. Not all the facilities have the PCR testing for cyclospora. Right now, explosive watery diarrhea is cyclospora until proven otherwise.
Yeah. I keep this kit right here on my desk, just like they've got on the screen there. Because these kits, they really are the gold standard. And it's not just this kit. You've got a variety of kits. You've got first aid kits and medical emergency kits, a travel kit. And this is key here. It's summertime. People are traveling. Take that travel kit with you in case you get caught somewhere and can't get to a pharmacy and you have symptoms arrive. You need to get ahead of it, right?
It's true, Steve. You could be out on a fishing trip somewhere, start to feel sick. I'm telling you, you start to get some abdominal cramping and diarrhea, immediately start trimethoprim sulfamethoxazole. 1 tablet twice a day can extend this to 7 days. The diarrhea can be at least a month in duration, Steve. This is not a short-term thing. It needs to be treated.
Not a fun way to lose weight, folks. Don't do it. Be prepared with the medical kits from the Wellness Company. Doctor, I mean, there's a few jokes in here. I'm going to try to leave most of them alone. I greatly appreciate seeing you as always, my friend.
Thank you.
All right. If you're interested in the new medical kits that the Wellness Company offers, scan the QR code on your screen, or you can head over to twc.health/voice. Use the promo code VOICE. You're going to save 10%. That's twc.health/voice. Promo code is VOICE. And look, I'm not kidding you. I have these kits. You should too. Get ahead of it, whatever it might be. And there's a book in here that tells you how to use all the medications. I'm a true believer. All right, so after the break, we'll have a story that reminds us how wonderful America is, plus your answers to our America's Voice question of the day. Why do you think Democrats fight President Trump on everything, including topics they were once in agreement on years ago? Your answers when we come back.
Our country is under attack.
The America we know is at risk of not being that way.
The radical left wants to destroy America.
We're not going to let that happen.
The younger generation needs you to stand up and lead.
It's an inside-out strategy.
This is more than an organization. This is a movement.
We're here to save the country.
AMAC is a family, over 2 million patriots strong.
I am an AMAC member, by the way.
AMAC gives you the training, resources, and tools to be a citizen soldier.
Each one of us can make a difference, and that's what AMAC shows every day.
Plus, real benefits like travel discounts, insurance, and Medicare guidance. We are stronger together.
Our rights don't come from government. Our rights come from God.
RAV family, let's stand with AMAC.
To extinguish all the evil that we see around us.
Scan the QR code right now or go to amac.us/RAV and let's take our country back together.
Real America's Voice is growing, and now it's all in one place. Introducing the new and improved RAV app, built for access, community, and choice, not paywalls. Here's the key. RAV is still free to watch. No sign-in, no membership required. Your favorite live streams, breaking coverage, and video on demand are all right there. Free, just like always.
For the War Room Posse, we have to be a force multiplier on this. We have to stick the landing.
In the White House, in the Oval Office, you're crushing it, my friend.
And if you want more, the members section is your backstage pass. Get exclusive behind-the-scenes photos and videos, insider moments from the studio and the field, and early access to new content before it goes public. Members can also unlock special experiences like virtual meet and greets, member-only auctions, and select event access, plus commercial-free viewing of certain shows inside the app. It's not just an app, it's a community. Download the RAV app today. Find it in the App Store and Google Play.
I'm Andy M., and I love Real America's Voice, where my voice counts and your voice counts. That is America's Voice.
My name is Kyle. I'm with Real America's Voice because we can chat with each other, the host, even management. We are the RAV family, and we're better together.
Stands. From RAV's own Steve Gruber comes One Nation by Steve Gruber and the Freedom Project. A powerful new American anthem for the 4th of July. Faith, freedom, and unity in every line. A new release through Real America's Music. One Nation. Download it now. Scan the QR code or search One Nation by Steve Gruber and the Freedom Project on iTunes.
All right, what makes America wonderful? We do it every day with the hopes of putting a smile on your face and brighten your day a little bit. Today's story comes to us from Montana, my former hometown, where a 14-year-old boy proved that heroes can come in all ages. Jory Thomas was camping with his family along the Yellowstone River when a peaceful day suddenly turned into a desperate rescue. A raft and a paddleboard collided with a bridge pillar, throwing several people into the fast-moving water. Most managed to make it to shore, but one man was carried downstream by the powerful current. He was in serious trouble. Without hesitation, Jory sprang into action, drawing on years of experience roping cattle on his family's ranch. He grabbed his lariat, ran alongside the riverbank, and made an incredible throw. The rope reached the struggling man, allowing Jory and others nearby to pull him to safety before something bad happened and before first responders got on the scene. Jory later said he never imagined that the skills he practiced on the ranch would one day save a person's life. But thanks to his quick thinking, courage, and steady hand, they did. It's a reminder that the values of hard work, preparation, and helping others are alive and well all across this country. And sometimes an ordinary teenager can become an extraordinary hero. And today, that's what makes America wonderful. Nice job, kid. All right, question of the day. Why do you think Democrats fight President Trump on everything, including topics they were in agreement on years ago? Dusty63, they hate Trump so much, the left will do anything to defy him, and MAGA, even if it destroys American values. Chip Sorensen, because their cover-up systems are failing, and they're scared to death that many crimes are about to be revealed. Nanook64, TDS, plain and simple. I am the Wolfman writes, the lefties hate America. When they have worked so hard for so long to destroy our country and see all of their plans going up in flames, they throw their childish tantrums and lash out at the adults in the room. Liberty Freedom has this because it's President Trump. TDS. Real Texan Mike, I'll get one more. Probably for the same reason the uniparty rhinos fight him. They're all complicit in the corruption. Have a great day, Steve. And you too, my friend. And to all of you, thank you for being here today. Don't forget to start your day bright and early, 6 a.m. right here on Real America's Voice with Daybreak. Ivy and I will be here covering all the big stories you missed overnight, analyzing the ones you didn't, and having a cup of coffee to start the day. We'll see you then.
So my friends have all switched to Pure Talk because I told them they could save a bunch of money on a super reliable.
Our country is under attack.
The America we know is at risk of not being that way.
The radical left wants to destroy America.
We're not going to let that happen.
The younger generation needs you to stand up and lead.
It's an inside-out strategy.
This is more than an organization. This is a movement.
We're here to save the country.
AMAC is a family, over 2 million patriots strong.
I am an AMAC member, by the way.
AMAC gives you the training, resources, and tools to be a citizen soldier.
Each one of us can make a difference, and that's what AMAC shows every day.
Plus, real benefits like travel discounts, insurance, and Medicare guidance. We are stronger together.
Our rights don't come from government. Our rights come from God.
RAV family, let's stand with AMAC.
To extinguish all the evil that we see around us.
Scan the QR code right now or go to amac.us/RAV and let's take our country back together.
Real America's Voice is growing, and now it's all in one place. Introducing the new and improved RAV app, built for access, community, and choice, not paywalls. Here's the key. RAV is still free to watch. No sign-in, no membership required. Your favorite live streams, breaking coverage, and video on demand are all right there. Free, just like always.
For the War Room Posse, we have to be a force multiplier on this. We have to stick the landing.
In the White House, in the Oval Office, you're
Chaos erupted. Lives were changed.
Nobody told me this was such a dangerous profession. If Marco would have told me, maybe I wouldn't have run. Maybe I would have said, I'll take a pass. No, it's a dangerous profession.
But evil does not get the final word. Now we're back. The People's White House Correspondents' Dinner returns, where independent media is embraced.
The Trump White House will speak to all media outlets and personalities.
We refuse to be intimidated. We refuse to back down. And we won't let violence silence a free press or those committed to telling America's story. Join Real America's Voice this Friday, July 24th, for wall-to-wall coverage of this special night as